our first December episode of Red Coin the Nintendo podcast. We are here in my house this time. I'm Adam, and to my left, I've got Chris Massara with us. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. Good to be back.
Yes.
We swapped a member out.
Yeah, we're playing tag, right?
Yeah,
right. So, we
currently got a red coin rotating roster.
We do have a bit of a red coin rotating roster. This is
Say that five times fast.
Yeah.
I think this is the third time in as many episodes that we've had three people as chair or two people as chair. But today we have three. So we've got Chris.
Yep.
And to my right, we've got Aaron.
Hey, Adam, how are you?
I'm great. I'm very excited to play some games and talk about some games, actually.
It's getting to that time of year where Christmas is coming up and it's December, so all the big, games are starting to come out. We're starting to get a lot of news. A lot of other big things
No
happening.
Nintendo games, though. But
we've had a lot of big things happening, which we'll get into
we had
later,
Yokai Watch and Xenoblade Chronicles
X.
X.
Yeah. And we also had Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival come out.
That went straight on my radar.
Let's try and forget about that. But before we begin, I just wanted to say as well, Chris Massara, you've had a birthday since we last finished recording.
I'm old.
So happy birthday.
Thank you.
1 year older and 1 year wiser.
Yeah.
And eventually buying a house now too.
Yeah, bought a house, so that's all good. But still playing games designed for children, which is great.
Yeah. Some happy home designer in there.
No.
Can't get too carried away with the grown up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it grounded.
Well, let's start with what everyone's been playing. Chris, I know that speaking of your birthday, your lovely girlfriend brought you Yokai Watch for your birthday.
Yes, amongst other things. So Yokai Watch, picked that up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So both Adam and I played the demo at PAX, and you've been playing the full game.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a game that it was on my radar, to be honest, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to commit to a game that I knew was very heavily like Pokemon.
Yeah. As I've said in the past, it's very it's got a huge following in Japan.
Yes.
We're still waiting to see how it goes over here in America.
I think there's also a release date for the anime. So for Australian audiences, the anime is going to be on Channel 9 Go. It's not going to be on Channel 11, as I originally thought.
Yep.
It's going to be on Channel 9 Go, and we'll put information up in the show notes about that in terms of times and stuff. But I think the premiere is coming up, which, again, we saw at PAX, Aaron and I, and we have already talked about our thoughts on that. So, so you got it on Saturday. It came out on Saturday.
Yeah, I played it exclusively on Saturday, actually. So it was I put a lot of hours into it. It is very similar to Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there are aspects where Pokemon wouldn't be doing that,
right?
In the next version or whatever.
Certainly.
Pokemon's too ingrained in its ways, I feel.
So you don't think? Is there anything that Pokemon could learn from Yokai Watch?
There's a few things. Yeah, I haven't put as many hours as I would like to just yet.
Certainly.
The battles are automated,
mm-hmm.
so you actually control much of the Yokai battle themselves. And they've got their own 4 moves that they use. Much like Pokemon.
Yes.
They've got all their own statistics as well, much like Pokemon. They've got...
you also have 6 Yokais at any given time.
You have 6 Yokais
much like
Pokemon.
Time.
So, but they're about where the similarities end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the stuff in the overworld, a lot more side quests. A lot of the dialogue is actually quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the NPCs would be quite funny, and then they'll tell you random things, and interesting.
Would you say the story of Yokai Watch is more involved than, say, Pokemon is?
I don't know just yet. I haven't put enough hours into anything. I put about 10 hours
I
in.
guess in Yokai Watch, just going from what we've seen, you find out where the yokai come from, their origins, whereas Pokemon, you don't really know where Pokemon come from or how Pokeballs are invented, or you don't really know any of the old lore behind Pokemon.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But do you really care? Like, at that point, it's more like, I think the difference, let's say, between Yokai and Pokemon is Yokai is kind of this thing where the main character knows about them and not many other people do. Whereas Pokemon, to compare, you are thrust into this world where everyone knows about Pokemon and it's always been the norm.
It is different, yeah.
So I think that discovery aspect is maybe something that Yokai has over Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. And shout outs to Level 5 as well. They've done a brilliant job localizing this game. Like, there's a lot of jokes and puns in the game that I feel would have been hard to translate over from Japanese.
Sure.
And like the yokai speak in weird accents as well, and that's reflected in the text, with like shorthand writing and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm interested to put more hours in.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also interested to pick it up. I will be picking it up soon to try out. I'm really excited from the perspective of level 5 in the past with the Professor Layton games. For me, my history with the Professor Layton games has been quite up and down. Like I played through all of the first DS one, and then I think it kind of got a bit too much. Like there was like
4.
It felt like one every 6 months or something.
Yeah.
But I know it wasn't that much. But it just time
it
gets
felt
in the
like
way
that.
and that kind of thing.
In terms of say your friends picking up Yokai Watch, is there much multiplayer side of things?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
So
I don't think there's any. There might be battling like 1-on-1, but I
Mhm.
haven't delved that far into it yet.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that might be that. So I can't say buy Yokai Watch and trade Yokai with you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I'm not sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll have to look into it a little bit more, and maybe obviously if there is multiplayer elements, Chris and I will try them out. We'll get back to the podcast in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and one of the examples I just thought of in ways that it does better than Pokemon is that in Pokemon, for example, there'll be a unmovable object that you would need a HM to move, for example,
Yes,
like let's
of
say
course.
strength.
Yes.
But in Yokai Watch, it's a bit different. There is an immovable object or a door that you can't get past, but your watch rank determines if you can get through it.
Right.
So there'll be a letter D or C or whatever on the door, and if you're rank E, which is what you start off with, you can't get through.
Sure.
So that's
Right.
a way without having to
That's
clog
how
up
it
an item
gates the
stop.
progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it gates the progress.
So that's a way that Pokemon can look at doing that in the
Yeah.
future with because HMs are annoying.
Yeah. 100%. I've always
fair.
said they instead of HMs they should just give you items.
A key item.
At least a
absolutely.
key item that just does it, because they do it for nearly everything else. But it's just for some reason HMs have always stuck with the game, and it's just always been something where it's
They
like
do kind of do it with
Jet-
Saw.
What?
Remember how you could soar around using the Eon Flute with Latios and Latios?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
I thought you
no, I
meant
thought
the
that was good.
movie.
no. Yes, coming
Saw
to a
the
theatre
movie.
near you. Saw the movie. This time Jigglypuff's in it for keeps. But no, I do agree with you. Like I know what you mean. That Eon Flute was a good start, and they're
Yeah,
hitting
it's
towards
definitely
it.
moving away from using things like Dive and Whirlpool.
Yeah,
the Gen 2.
they
days,
were not
yeah.
fun, and I do remember. I mean, it being de-emphasized a lot in X and Y to people's much joy.
And actually, in Gen 5, you could get through the whole game without using Overworld.
It's awesome.
Any of the HMs.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So look, I think they know as well, and not to turn it into a discussion of Pokemon or a comparison of Pokemon, but let Yokai Watch live in its own right. And I think
Absolutely.
I think it's a good game. It's definitely something you'd recommend for people, obviously in that target age group,
Yep.
to pick up on 3DS.
I mean, a lot of the designs look like Pokemon. It's quite funny actually.
Yeah.
Go into it with not the idea that this is going to replace Pokemon. It's probably not as competitive at this stage, I don't think.
Like we said, we haven't got a Pokemon game this year, so maybe it's something to play in the meantime.
And actually, it was interesting you mentioned that, Aaron, because I was thinking, like, I wonder if Level 5 and Game Freak sort of spoke to Nintendo and said, like, look, we've got this big franchise. We kind of want to release it.
Yeah.
Do you guys mind us holding off for a year? Because like, I feel that would have cannibalized sales.
100%. 100%. I think even if we had what was recently announced in the Direct being virtual console versions of Blue, Red, and Yellow coming to the fore, I still think that would have been competitive with Yokai Watch.
So don't think that now. That kind of makes sense. I understand why there hasn't been a game this year. It's because Yokai Watch is out.
I think it might be a reason, but I don't think it's the full reason. I do think they are saving up for something big for the anniversary next year, and we still don't know what that is. We still don't know.
Nintendo have been a bit like that lately.
Yeah, fair enough. Another thing that was bought for your birthday, which I just briefly want to touch on as well, is this cool 3DS faceplate, which we've talked about in the past. So it's the Mario Maker themed faceplate.
It is, yes, that's correct.
So I have an XL. I take it, Aaron, you have a XL as well.
No,
right?
I don't. I've kept my classic 3DS. I was always going to upgrade to XL, but never got around to it.
Yeah, Aaron's OG.
So you've got an OG 3DS. So you're really the only one in the red coin. I'm not sure about Cam, but you're really the only one that can get these faceplates.
Yeah, no, I'm the only one I know.
Yeah.
To be honest, that has it as a
There you go.
It's definitely cool, yeah.
What I just want to say on that, I think it is because, like, once you go bigger, you just can't go back. And while the new 3DS is bigger than the old 3DS, it still, for me, is still too small. Like, my hand already is just...
it's funny you say that, Adam, because I did have a 3DS XL.
Yes, so
I did go down.
You did
that
go
was
down.
For portability, and I
Certainly.
do like the face plates.
Yes.
I think it's a bit fashionable, so...
yeah, I mean, looking at
it's
the
a
faceplate, it
brilliant
does look
faceplate.
really nice.
You do have to pre-order it, though, so I don't know if you'd be able to walk in and get one.
Yeah,
at
and
this
so
stage.
pre-order it from EB Games.
Yeah, this is from EB Games, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of cool pixel art on there.
And how much does that retail for,
I think
Chris?
it's about $28.
$28. So that's an
That's-
attainable price.
Yeah, that's still worth it for like just looking at all the different characters and stuff you get on there. Like, some good value for money.
Yeah.
There's a few noticeable
Omissions?
yes.
Yeah,
and that
like-
would be,
I
like
think I see
who?
about 4 Marios.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
At
Yeah,
least.
we've
well,
got...
well, for starters, there's no Pokemon,
Yes.
Yeah.
so that's the big thing.
Again, that's odd considering Super Mario Maker does have Pokemon Amiibo compatibility.
Yeah, so we've got Mario
with
characters, we've
Pikachu.
got
But it
Fox
doesn't have-
characters.
But does, again, with Super Mario Maker Amiibo compatibility, it's
Mm.
not all the Pokemon, is it?
Yeah,
So, again, that's probably the reason why. But,
no, it's a cool face.
yeah,
I'm really
all the
happy with it.
pixelated versions of stuff, and some of these characters aren't even in Mario Maker, let alone, as well. Like,
Yeah,
things
we've got,
like...
Don't let me think.
I think we've got, like, Slippy
Rob?
from Star Fox.
Rob?
yeah.
Rob. Well, Rob has an
Rob is in
amiibo.
it.
Ah, okay.
So, and then this, I think
Yeah, we've
that's
got Animal
from
Crossing characters as well. But
as
see,
well.
I don't know if this is so much a Mario Maker faceplate.
Mm-hmm.
More
Well, it's
so-
got the main Mario Maker as like a
Yeah,
centerpiece, though.
Absolutely, but it could just be a homage to 8-bit gaming.
Certainly.
Because, I mean, Mario Maker is in on 3DS.
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
Well,
Yet.
we've already. I think it's safe to say in 2016 we might see a little bit more about Super Mario Maker for 3DS. I think having Super Mario Maker be on the Super Smash Bros. As a playable level on both Wii U and
yes,
3DS
yep.
is reason enough.
Anyway, what do you guys been playing? We can probably move on.
Yeah.
Or what I've been doing.
Yeah, no worries. Well, Aaron, next to you,
Oh,
pressure's on now. What have you been playing?
Not to harp on about too much, but I've been playing Pokemon.
You playing Pokemon?
Oh.
Great.
I've been playing, well, like I said to you guys
Yes.
last time, I'm playing in the seasonal premiere challenges.
Yes.
So we just finished our first season, which was the Sceptile Cup.
Yes.
And
now we're on to the Blazer King Cup.
The Blaziken Cup, yes,
Yes.
which is on at Good Games in Cannington on the 20th of December.
Okay.
We're starting our first of 6.
Well, I think I'm coming. I'm gonna try and
So
make
it's-
it now.
well,
What day is it?
I'm not sure what day.
It's,
that is.
I think
Sunday.
that's a Sunday. Yeah.
Because I think during the Sceptile tournament, it was the days were split over Wednesdays and Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
and the Wednesday matches didn't really get too much attention.
Yes,
Right.
I listened to this last episode on the way
Yeah.
to work.
Yes.
I heard you talking about this.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, it's looking like I think the Blazing Cup every match will be on a Sunday, and it'll be spread over 6
Wow.
weeks.
Cool.
So the
Mhm.
fact that it's just for us
In
at a
advance,
more
yeah.
accessible location,
Yes.
and
As well, instead of Morley originally.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's at a more convenient time on Sundays,
Mhm.
which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot more success with this side of with this tournament compared to the last one, and hopefully see some more players and some more diverse teams.
Definitely. How did you go last tournament?
I did all right. I think I only played 3 matches of 3 Sundays,
Mm-hmm.
and of all 3, I think I went 2 for 1 or 2 for 2 or something like that.
Okay.
So I fell pretty much in the middle,
Yep.
which I wasn't. I was there just to have fun, try out some fun teams, kind of thing.
Of course.
I was really impressed though that
Were you impressed with the variety? Like,
I
did
was.
you think
There
people
was some-
stayed away from? I've seen in the past the genies get a lot of use. And...
yeah, there was times. I think there was maybe only 1 or 2 teams I versed which had Mega Kangaskhan, which was very refreshing.
Wow.
Everyone was just playing around with teams they enjoyed and not necessarily the meta. Like I saw 1 or 2 hardcore metagame teams,
Mhm.
I hate
but
those.
people were really just playing around with stuff
People
they
just
liked.
play to win, Chris. You can't hate them for that.
No, it's just a bit boring.
Yeah.
No, but people were
Some
like,
people like to play Mega Kangaskhan. I'm sure it's the Australian thing as well.
I had an awesome Mega Kangaskhan back in 2014.
It's so last year for
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah.
It's so past that.
It's not the year,
no, yeah, but I
Yeah.
encourage you guys now to be a bit more local. Maybe come down next season.
Yeah,
Check it
Great
out.
yeah,
idea,
definitely.
right? I might do that.
Again, I think I did say this last time, but yeah, invite me and I'll come along to the next one.
Because
whenever they
damn,
make
you
it.
need practice, Adam.
Oh,
We-
damn!
I
know
think we all need
practice.
to practice.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good
I
point.
mean, that was the whole
So-
problem that, the VGC tournaments were annually, and so you'd play, and then you put your DS down for a few months,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't play again.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas these, seasonal things are a way to keep people more active, the community a bit more lively, and, keep things a bit more, I don't know, just
Oh.
turning it over rather than annually.
Yeah.
Right. Well, seeing as we've talked about what we've been playing, I mean, I guess from my perspective, I'm a bit naughty. I haven't been playing any Nintendo games recently.
What are you doing?
I've just been playing Halo a lot with
Adam,
some friends on the internet.
That's why Cam's not here. We kicked him out.
No, we could never kick Cam out. But what I do want to
say about your
is
Wii,
that
if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
That is true. That is true. What I have committed to Chris, I think now I'm going to make a commitment on the podcast, so it's right
this is
here.
Live.
Oh, it's a
this
live
hasn't gone
audio
through me
commitment.
first.
He hasn't heard it first, but
He's
will
proposing.
be pleased to know you, as our resident Zelda expert. I have a copy of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time on 3DS, which I've not really touched since purchasing it, and I think it's about time I did. So I'm going to make a resolution to start it. And hopefully delve into it for a few hours. I'm leaving for Melbourne tonight for a few days, so I'll have some handheld time.
Definitely.
And I'm going to try and play Ocarina of Time for 3DS, and hopefully going to come back in 2 weeks and tell you all what I think as my first real foray into not Phantom Hourglass. Zelda.
So the real Zelda
like the
games,
real the 3D Zelda games.
Well, Adam, I gotta say I'm severely jealous because I would pay so much money to be able to experience that game for the first time again.
Yeah.
And
do you think the 3DS is a competent version for me to start with
absolutely.
as well?
Oh, no question. Frame rate's better. The graphics are better controls in some aspects as well. You're not using that horrendous analog stick of the N64.
Yeah, the one that gave us blisters.
Yeah. The GameCube port is actually pretty good as well with the GameCube controller.
Yeah. Do you have that disc?
Yeah,
it's quite a hard disc to get.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course
I bought Ocarina of Time about 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure. So you don't have it for 64 on Wii U do as well, do you? When they came out with the 64.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. But almost every time he's been able to buy it, he's bought it, which is good. All right. Well, like I said, so I'll play that next weekend. I'll have that for everyone.
I'm so excited for you.
Well, I'm nervous. I'm worried I might be bad at it. I'm worried what will happen if
you
I
do
come
have
back.
to keep in mind this game came out in 1998.
Oh no,
I
do keep that in mind.
All the same mechanics though.
Games were, from memory, more challenging back then.
Yeah. No, I do remember touching Majora's Mask at the time, not really getting it. And that's as a kid, you don't know any of the secret stuff. It's like playing Majora's Mask at 9 years old or whatever, when I hired it from Blockbuster Video back in the day. Kids, if you're listening, Blockbuster was where you'd hire video games back in the day. And I just remember not being very good at it. But I'm excited to approach it with fresh eyes as a 25-year-old.
A fun little anecdote about Blockbuster is they were having an X-rental sale back in the day, back in 1998.
Yes.
And that's how I found Ocarina of Time for $15.
There you go.
So that's how I got into Zelda.
That's how we snapped a bargain.
Yeah.
So Blockbuster...
For what console?
For
64.
Yeah, right, okay.
So there you go. They were having an X-rental
But anyway, Adam, if you get stuck, please just text me.
Okay.
I'll be delighted to help you.
Okay.
You've got your own personal guru.
I've got my personal Zelda Zara, personal Zelda guru ready to help out.
Don't trust the internet.
No.
That's just...
No, I don't want to read game facts. I'll just text you.
Game facts. Or his ASCII characters.
For anyone else listening too, if you're playing any Zelda games, you have any trouble, feel free to message Chris.
On 04...
No, but feel free, like if you are playing Zelda games, tell us about it. You know the website, it's www.redcoin.net.au.
Please do. I will personally give you Chris's mobile number.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on, I want to touch on something that's, it's very exciting. It's the end of the year. It's December. We had the Game Awards.
Yeah, we did.
It was shown on Friday during the day for us, while some of us were at work.
Yep.
I think we've all had our own predictions since January, like knowing what was going to come out and what would be, picked for this.
Certainly.
Some people were very right, some people were very wrong.
Certainly. I think, look, so for those who don't know, the Game Awards is kind of the gaming industry's shot at a really serious awards show to the level of the Oscars for movies, Grammys for music, that kind of thing. It's been on a channel called Spike in the past in the US, and it's been up and down, very mixed reviews, and it's been very sort of kind of laughed at among more credible sources in the industry. But since Spike no longer had the rights to it, last year Jeff Keighley from GameTrailers.com, a very well-credited host of many gaming shows in the industry. Yes.
He gets a lot of hate, but
he does get a lot of hate, but I do very much value Jeff Keighley and
he's the
what he brings to the industry.
of the American
Yes.
hosting.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I would
Yeah,
like to,
yeah.
for even our American listeners, I would like to say he's like the Ryan Seacrest of video
Yes,
games.
he is too. Yeah,
He
is
really
too.
is. He's like, he's a businessman,
Seacrest.
he's a producer
Yeah.
of these award shows. So, so he decided to do the Game Awards last year for the first time, and I watched that, you know, in almost in its entirety, and really enjoyed it, and thought it was quite an enjoyable thing. I know people feel differently about award shows, and like, oh, you know, award shows, are they even relevant?
Who are they for?
love
You know,
award shows.
Yeah,
I love them. I
like them
really
too.
enjoy getting into an award show, picking favourites, wanting those favourites to do
Yeah.
well. But yeah, so that was on. It was on Thursday night this year, which was very different. So Friday morning,
for the
our
Americans,
time, yeah, for the Americans. Whereas last year it was on a Saturday. And I'm interested to know why they made that change, because it was at the Nokia Theatre, the Microsoft Theatre. They've changed their name.
Yeah.
So where, you know,
I
where
think they
other
changed their sponsorship.
yeah, they
That's how it
changed their
works,
sponsorship.
yeah.
That's how it works. Well, it used to be called the Dolby Theatre.
But I don't think we're going to
It's where
rattle
they
off.
hold the Oscars.
We're not going to rattle off all the winners, but
No, we
basically just a rundown.
Okay,
The
well,
Witcher 3 won the
Witcher
big one.
3 won a big one.
Yeah.
Which is Game of the Year.
But the nominees were for Game of the Year. So we had a really solid 5. We had Bloodborne, Fallout, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and obviously our kind of personal favourite. I don't want to bury the lead here, but Super Mario Maker was in the
yeah,
mix.
yeah, definitely.
So
So
The Witcher 3 was one.
Mario Maker was up there with some strong contenders.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, my personal pick would have been Fallout 4, but Witcher 3 just dominated.
Yeah, he cleaned up. He got
Yeah.
3 or 4 awards,
Yeah.
and the developer got an award as well. So
Yes.
yeah, he did well.
Certainly right. And look, I think
Hats off to Bethesda.
Yeah.
They've just been knocking out the park
Yeah,
this
they
year.
have been, yeah.
they have as well. But you know, yeah, CD Projekt Red is someone who, with The Witcher, it came out early this year. It's stuck in the minds of a lot of people I know that have played The Witcher.
Because they're still playing it, Adam.
Are still playing it. Yeah, it's stuck in the minds because a lot of people are still playing it. So it's a long ass game and there's a lot of content to it. But
Nintendo related stuff.
what I want to give credit to the Nintendo related stuff. So what I think was really a bit of a shock for people is that Splatoon won Best Shooter.
That is fantastic news.
Fantastic news.
It's really good to see refreshing new IP. Refreshing, no pun intended, but like
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just want to rattle off the other contenders was up against.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront, which just came out very recently.
Yes, to mixed
Uh,
reviews.
Halo 5 Guardians, which is, you know, the next in a long series of well-known games.
Yeah.
it's
Um,
a big name.
And it's a AAA title, and Halo 5 is one of those games. Look, I played quite a lot of Halo. I recently wrapped up the campaign, and I must say it was an enjoyable experience, but it hasn't stuck with me as the next contender, which, you know, everyone's favourite,
It's almost
Destiny
a running
Taken
joke.
King.
a running joke on this
we
podcast.
all
that.
play this except for Chris.
We all play it. We all love it.
The second expansion in the series, it was known for breaking a lot of ground in you know, gaming as well.
Known for really doing a lot. And then obviously we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which
Which
none
we-
of us have played.
No, but Call of Duty is also your stock standard.
You know what you get.
Multiplayer
Yep.
shooter.
I think it's
Like-
just a seat filler there, though. I don't
No,
think it
but
wasn't
like,
very well received this year
If
as
Call
well.
of Duty wasn't there, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's
Um,
hard to name 5 other shooters. I mean, it's not like Battlefield Hardline's going to be coming on this list, you know, and that came
Well,
out
you know,
this year.
you still don't have. I don't know, like you're taking. I've
You're
blanked.
trying to think of any other shooters.
No, I had some.
But I
Because there's
can't
none.
think of more than 5 other shooters that have come out this year
like
that
Rainbow
are as
Six.
big. Rainbow Six Siege, but that's kind of more of
Yeah,
a recent thing.
I don't know. It's just really good to see Splatoon win that award. I think it also won Best Multiplayer, if I'm not mistaken.
It did also win Best Multiplayer.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
So it won Best Multiplayer. So let's talk.
It's up against some of the same names.
So
as well.
yeah, so we've got it won against Black Ops 3, Destiny the Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, and another favourite of mine that we've kind of talked a little bit about on the podcast, but it's not
Rocket
a
League.
Nintendo game, Rocket League.
Yeah.
So that's one that's been really well received. Rocket League getting honours in terms of being the best independent game. But so for Splatoon to win Best Shooter and Multiplayer, quite a shock, I think.
Well, I had it down as a shoo-in for Best Multiplayer.
Really?
For me, yeah, for personally. I was like,
I would
that
have picked
is...
shooter of multiplayer. Personally.
Really? Shooter?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
fair
think, yeah, I agree with Aaron. I think looking at this list, having not known, so I watched the Game Awards having not known any of these nominees,
Yeah.
and having not made a decision one way or the other. But Best Multiplayer, I think Rocket League was something that maybe would have stuck with the industry a lot more. I do hear people always talking about Rocket League.
Oh, yeah,
and
it's really
and for
fun.
me, it doesn't seem like a lot of the at least games press that I follow have really stuck with Splatoon as much.
Seeing the same games in shooters and multiplayers,
Mhm.
is that where we are
It's
now?
a little worrying. Yeah.
Like, is that where we are? Where like our multiplayers are shooters?
Well, for the most part, yes. They've always been that way, though. I mean, like, I think it's tough because I think the industry at the moment is really divided into. We look at the main multiplayer experiences. It's MOBAs and shooters as at the top, right at the top, and it's hard to have these MOBAs put in as best multiplayer because they're. Dota 2 came out years ago, so this is for the year that was, really.
Sure.
And so there's that focus on shooters, and I think at least there's a bit of a change, and there's that inclusion with Rocket League as best multiplayer. So, yeah.
So Super Mario Maker won the best
family game.
Family game.
So
which I think is a bit of a cop out.
Best,
but they almost had to give it.
What I think it. What do we call this award? I think we call this award the
I Ran in a Race award.
No, I call it the aimed at Nintendo.
What you feel like Nintendo are?
Well, let's look at these titles. Let's rattle these off.
Where are they?
Because we've got Disney Infinity 3.0.
I see what you mean.
Which was like I think I don't want to say the lead console is Wii U, but I imagine a lot of the SKUs have been sold on maybe 3DS or Wii U. We've got Lego Dimensions, which again, Toys to Life category. Skylanders Superchargers, which had great cross promotion with the Donkey Kong and Bowser amiibo, and we've got Splatoon. So, I mean,
either way, Nintendo is going to dominate that category.
Yeah. Well,
that's true.
Nintendo, Disney, Lego, and Skylanders. I think we could take this list in the next year and whatever Lego game, whatever Disney game,
that's true,
whatever Skylanders game comes out, they'd be nominated by default. Sure. So it's good to see that something like Super Mario Maker, which might not be the best family game from the perspective of like it's hard for kids, or maybe I'm not giving kids enough credit. It might be hard for kids to really make those kinds of levels. I know at 9 years old I might struggle to make a level that I'd be really happy with.
Well, yeah, but I think your standard is quite a bit lower.
I like to compare something like Super Mario Maker to, say, Minecraft.
Yeah.
Which both kids and adults can play and get really complicated with.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll have a little bit more news of Minecraft coming up later on in the show as well. Yeah, something really related to that.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, which isn't really Nintendo related, is that the Trending Gamer of the Year.
Yes, let's talk about that.
So Greg Miller won it.
Yes.
Which is fantastic.
I think that is very fantastic. As someone who's started to consume more of Greg Miller's content, Kind of Funny Games, for those who don't know who Greg Miller is, Greg Miller used to be at IGN, very well respected, ran Podcast Beyond.
Yep.
Which was a Sony?
Sony
podcast.
They're up to episode like 400 and something.
Wow, so they've been on for quite a while.
I listen to them quite regularly. They're really cool dudes.
Yeah, but it's something that's interesting. So these were fan voted on, and Greg Miller won over those kind of YouTube streamers, those Twitch streamers that take a lot of the credit. So Total Biscuit.
Yeah, PewDiePie, the other two.
Yeah, PewDiePie's a big name, you know. We all know PewDiePie from his appearance on South Park predominantly as someone who...
What, PewDiePie's been around for probably about 6 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I know him from YouTube. I don't know him from South Park, but I'm actually a fan of him. I do like him. I don't understand why people don't like him, but...
I find him a little annoying.
But I don't actively seek out his content. Like, I think, Greg... And part of the reason I'm so happy that Greg Miller won is that Greg Miller has intelligent content, has intelligent conversations about the industry.
Yes.
That speak to the industry and the state of play in the industry. And that's something that I draw inspiration from as a podcaster as well.
Sure.
Wanting to have that kind of
discourse.
If Greg
Miller talks, I'm listening. Whereas if PewDiePie talks, I might just be looking through to see what other channels are going on.
Certainly.
Do you usually agree with most of the things that Greg Miller says, or?
Most of the time I do, yeah. I mean, Greg and also Colin Moriarty, who he has a bit of banter with.
Yeah. Colin's great.
Colin's great. Just to have an adversary as well from that kind of perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes Colin goes on these political rants, which I won't delve into for those.
Colin had a bet with Greg to say that 9/11 was an inside job at his speech. $3,000 cash. He didn't take it. Obviously.
He did not say it.
Obviously.
No, but look, I think as well, Greg's had a really hard year as well, making that transition from IGN, and he is a cancer survivor as well.
Man. Yeah.
So really inspirational guy. I can't think of anyone
you just
better to take that award out.
You just disagree with his Batman vs Superman trailer review, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I look. Yeah, he thinks He actually liked that?
He
I
loved
didn't
it.
see that.
He loved it, man.
Well, him and I are going to have words. So, for anyone who's seen the Batman Superman trailer,
It's
do
awesome.
yourself a failure.
And
Do yourself a favour.
And
It is
don't
a-
listen to Adam.
Do not watch it. It is a waste of time. But yeah, so I think
Anyway, moving on.
I think that's it from the Game Awards.
do we have anything?
Also,
Also,
we got a certain ode to a good friend, well, an old.
Oh
friend of
yeah,
ours,
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So like, there was a few minutes silence for Satoru Iwata, which he tragically passed away this year. There was a nice little montage, and Reggie did a speech, which was very, very moving.
yes.
It was really like emotional a little bit there.
Yeah,
Certainly.
yeah, which it really deserved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it was handled by Jeff as well. Jeff introduced Reggie, and he approached it with a kind of,
Tone.
tone
Yeah.
and somberness that would be indicative of an in memoriam section even at a regular
Yeah,
award show like
absolutely.
the Academy
He
Awards.
gave credit
So,
where credit was due.
yeah, and Jeff talked about his personal time with Satoru Iwata and a little bit about how he felt he contributed to the industry, and then we had Reggie come up and define Iwata in one word, which I think really spoke to the man that Satoru Iwata was, and that was unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
He briefly touched on, the consoles he affected.
Yeah.
yeah.
Directly responsible for 3 of the million sellers of Nintendo.
Yeah,
So,
100 million.
100
Well,
million,
100
yeah.
million. Let's never forget.
So
The
they
million's
were
not much.
the 3DS.
We're thinking about the Wii U. That's
No, you're thinking about the DS,
The
the
DS.
So we
Wii,
got the DS, the Wii, and
Game
the
Boy.
Game Boy.
Sure.
So 3 big consoles that have stood the test of time.
So those are 3 out of the 5, and the other 2 were
The
play-
NES
the
and the
PS2,
PlayStation 2.
NES and the PS2.
Yeah. So
Which says a lot about that man. Like,
it certainly does. Yeah.
just himself.
And yeah, so I think also everyone, I recommend you watch it if you call yourself a Nintendo fan at all. He talked about how
Stop this
Satoru-
podcast right now.
yeah.
No,
watch it.
listen.
And
Stop
then-
this
and then
podcast
come
right
back
now,
to
and then
us.
come
yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
He said, that Satoru was an electrical engineer, so he knew how that aspect worked. He was a software programmer, he knew how that worked, and he was a businessman, and he knew how that worked. And
One thing I think
it
Reggie
was the
didn't
perfect
touch on,
recipe.
but I kind of got the vibe from Iwata was, on top of all that, he was a gamer.
Yeah, he was,
Certainly.
and he was fun and stuff, so...
Yeah, look, I think overall, if I had to review the Game Awards, if I had to give it a grade, I would say, it's an A for me. Like it's must watch television from the perspective of, there's all those aspects that you've got the awards, you've got in memoriam section, you've got new game reveals, which
Yeah,
are great
really
as
cool.
well. Also, this year they decided to, because it was streamed live and it's not on a channel anymore, and it wasn't on a channel last year either, they did include advertisements for games.
Yeah, they did.
There was a bit of controversy with whether or not that is appropriate for
Really? Okay.
games.
Oh, you're talking about Battlefront.
Yes,
Yeah,
so I'm
that
talking
was-
about
that was
Star Wars
horrendous.
Battlefront being included in some of the advertising. I just
was
wanted
so
to get
obvious.
your opinion, guys, as to, I mean, it obviously didn't affect any of the awards. So
To be honest,
Star
I-
Wars didn't win any awards.
It was just hilarious because we have Justine doing the interviews backstage.
Yes.
And she's like interviewing Deadmau5. And
Yeah.
she's just like, so what do you think of Battlefront? And he's just like, I haven't played it. Like it's so funny, like typical, like he just didn't care. It was hilarious.
And I
To be
also,
honest,
yeah,
like, I'd rather see a Battlefront ad than a KFC ad, for example.
yeah, no, it's probably more relevant.
Or a
yeah.
Mountain Dew ad,
Yeah.
as we've seen Mountain
Mountain
Dew
Dew.
support Halo in the
I
past.
mean, if
Yeah.
we're going to see ads at all, may as well be gaming ones.
That's true.
Well,
I don't
it
know.
wasn't really an advert, Aaron. It was more like
An advertorial. Like,
Yeah,
it was,
it was
kinda
like
that
they
it's
had them all
content
set up and
presented
stuff.
as. And there was at one point, John Vignocchi, the main man behind Disney Infinity, was handing out a Kylo Ren figurine to Justine.
yeah.
And I don't know, it kind of was interesting. But I mean, again, Disney Infinity didn't win any awards. So while we can criticize that in terms of the perspective of, like, does it tarnish the awards to have that be advertised? Like, it's to compare it to the Oscars again, it's not like we see trailers for upcoming information or
No.
like upcoming movies.
At the same time, the Oscars isn't streamed, so they
Yeah.
get the ad revenue from the channels.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So,
Yeah.
so look, I don't think it bothers me as much. They've got to make the money somewhere, and
that's true. Yeah.
that's something that we've got.
Before we move on off the Game Awards,
Mhm.
do you want to touch on Konami?
Yes. Look, before we, yeah. So for those who don't know, Hideo Kojima, the founder and mind behind a great game, Metal Gear Solid, great game franchise,
yep.
rather, has left the company.
Yeah, so they had a
And
falling out.
They had a
basically.
falling
Yeah.
out. Yeah. We've heard stories of him being really roughhoused out of the building and that kind of thing like that, which neither confirmed nor denied.
Yeah, we
or
don't know
anything like
anything
that.
just yet because he's still under contract.
He can't say a word to anyone.
Yeah.
But I imagine if the one day Hideo Kojima writes a book about Konami, it's going to fly off the shelves.
Yes.
But what we do know is that Jeff Keighley had the balls to say this at the show. He came out and said that Hideo Kojima was forbidden from attending the Game Awards due to Konami's lawyers.
Yep, that's correct.
Wow.
So
he was forbidden to attend, forbidden to receive any awards. So the guy who voices Solid Snake, who he's in...
Kiefer Sutherland
yes, so he
accepted an award on his behalf.
Yeah.
Which was for... So Metal Gear Solid did win Best Action Adventure, and Hideo Kojima can't even be on stage to accept his own award.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty ridiculous.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
That's some real bad blood right there.
Yeah. I think, just on this, I do think that Konami is really trying to take the mantle of, like, I remember back in the day when everyone used to hate on EA, and EA won that dubious honour of the most hated company in America. In America, I think Konami wants to take over with something like this.
Dedicated to hating on Konami.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, no matter if Kojima could just be the biggest dick in the world, and he could be tyrannical and all this sort of thing, but at the end of the day, Konami are the ones that look bad.
Yes,
they're the ones that acted unprofessional.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And it's
going to
affect
tough with
them.
a non-compete. Yeah, it really is going to affect them. But I don't know. Does Konami really care? Like, Konami, to me, they've always been this company that has had quite an up and down kind of history. And now
they're making pachinko machines.
Konami make pachinko machines, and they own health clubs in Japan, and they have the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise and Pro Evolution Soccer.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that's about it. That's their main money makers, like Konami. And obviously Metal Gear Solid, but you know, the future of Metal Gear Solid's in a massive flux at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen with that franchise without Kojima at the helm.
Well, we'll be seeing more Metal Gear Solid. It just won't be by
Hideo Kojima. Yeah. And it's that question of like Halo, for instance, when Bungie left Halo, we saw a massive decline in quality, I would say. A little bit of a decline in quality. Are we going to see the same thing? My guess is we probably are. And look, it wasn't a bit of Nintendo news, but it is relevant because Metal Gear is a game that's been on Nintendo consoles in the past.
Yeah, we had Snake in Brawl.
Certainly, and it's relevant to the industry. So, look, I think we can all say that Konami are in the wrong in this, and I'd like to see Konami issue an apology, but I think they're like Nintendo in a lot of ways. They're very much an old Japanese company in terms of their thinking, in terms of their business sense. I don't think they see them as having done anything wrong, and don't feel that they've angered any gamers enough to where gamers aren't going to really shun Konami or not buy Konami games.
So I've got a hinkling that
an inkling,
yeah.
Never forget Splatoon.
An inkling that they do know the effect that this is having on the industry, but it's like almost the lesser of two evils because they don't like Kojima that much.
Right.
So it's like, what's worse, you know? So I've got a feeling that is actually the case.
I feel like could have come to a better. That's all.
Yeah, definitely, but we don't know. We don't know their side of the story. We won't. We'll find out soon though, because I think his contract ends in December.
Yeah. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see whether Kojima goes the Kickstarter route to maybe start a game, kind of like we've seen with Inafune and Capcom.
Yeah.
Or maybe goes to another publisher.
When is Mighty No. 9 coming out?
God
soon?
Knows, God knows.
Please.
It's just Mega Man. I don't want to play another Mega. I don't know about you, but
I want to check it out.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
Well, anyway, that's all we have on the Game Awards. That's the Game Awards wrapped up. Let's jump into news.
Yeah.
I should say.
There's been even more news on top of that.
Yeah, so we got some NX stuff apparently, or what's happening?
Yes,
we got some PAX news.
Yeah.
Which is, geez, not like a couple months after PAX, we're already getting dates. And...
Yeah, so look, again, we'll just briefly touch on the PAX news. So PAX, we've got new dates.
And a new logo.
And a new logo.
Guys, yeah.
Yes, new and improved logo. I'd be interested to see if the other PAXs across the US follow this format. It looks a lot cooler. It looks updated and fresh. We've got new dates. It's set to go on sale. It went on sale today, actually.
Oh, wow.
So you can buy your tickets now for next year. The expo's moving a week later to avoid the start of Melbourne Cup and to avoid Halloween.
So instead of being the weekend before Melbourne Cup, it's the weekend
after Melbourne Cup.
Okay.
So presumably it might be a bit less on tickets because after Tuesday there'll be deals for people.
Well, I think coming from Perth to where PAX is in Melbourne, guys, I think we assumed that our flights back to Perth would be cheaper because they're on the same day as Melbourne Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't really the case, was it?
Certainly, no, it wasn't. I do think, it might ease the demand on accommodation. It also means it's away from school exams, and I think maybe being away from Halloween is actually more of a draw card for some of those international guests. I know in the US, Halloween is a big sort of event, and there are some people that like to spend it with their families, and they have young kids that want to dress up and they want to take their kids out on trick-or-treating and that kind of thing. So I think it was bound to happen eventually, and be interested to see what happens with the date. But you can bet your bottom dollar if I'm in Perth or Melbourne next year, I'll be attending somehow if I'm available, and hopefully Chris, we can try and get him to come on as well.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's PAX for now. I want to touch on this megaton announcement because I think it's going to be big.
Oh, it will be, yeah.
Yes.
So just before we lead into this,
yes,
one of the digital marketing people for Nintendo was on a podcast yesterday.
Yes.
And said that we got big news coming.
Yes.
I can't tell you what it is,
yes,
but big news coming. Paraphrasing, obviously.
Of course.
And obviously, I was like, oh my god, they're showing a Zelda trailer.
Yeah. You're like, there's more Zelda gameplay footage, everyone.
Anytime anyone mentions big news, Chris...
That is legit what I think, yeah.
Coming out, yeah.
But imagine my disappointment when they announced it was...
I wanted it to be Pokemon Snap Wii U, everyone. No.
What did they announce, Adam?
They announced Minecraft Wii U edition.
Fantastic.
Coming to...
it's been out for 5 years.
It's still a significant addition to the Wii library, though. Or the Nintendo library.
And they've done some work. They've at least come out with a photo that says Minecraft Wii U edition. They haven't just slapped Minecraft on it. No, so for those who want to know, those Minecraft fans that we might have, it's coming to the eShop at this point on the 17th of December, so 9 days or so away.
Mm-hmm.
And they have said that they will be working with Mojang on new contact packs for Nintendo fans to be released at a later time. Do we believe that these Nintendo packs are going to be Mario, Pokemon, Yoshi?
Yeah, I think so.
Those mainstays.
The other thing I'm wondering is, like, say you've already been playing this game on PC, say, for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you log on Wii with your same data?
No, 100% not.
100%
For example, we'd be able to take any of your Wii U content back to your PC.
100% not.
They don't talk to each other, Aaron.
I don't think they're going to talk to each other in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because it's so big on PC and people have been playing it for so long on PC.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, it's been out for 5 years.
Yeah.
Why now? But that being said, Chris, I know there are some kids who play Minecraft. I have some friends, younger siblings, and they play it on iPad. So I know kids that will jump at this idea to play it on a console as well,
especially with a tablet in front of them.
Especially with a tablet in front of them.
Fair enough.
I feel like the Wii hardware could do a lot for the software.
Yeah, and I think the Nintendo draw card as well, the Nintendo packs, whatever they might be a bit of a draw card as well. I've seen things from Minecraft creators being someone's designed the entirety of Pokemon Johto and Kanto in the game of Minecraft. So look, I think the potential for creativity is really high. And just
look how far we've already run with Mario Maker. Like, this just opens up that same window, I guess.
So the game does feature off-TV play, which makes sense. Obviously, I can't imagine what else the gamepad would be used for. There's no horn in Mario Kart. But there's no word yet if the inventory is going to make it to the touchscreen, but I think obviously it should, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. It just depends on how lazy they want to be with the port. And
so there's going to be a number of content packs that come along with the game. We've got a Battle and Beast skin pack, the second Battle and Beast skin pack, Natural Texture Pack, City Texture Pack, Fantasy Texture Pack, Festive Mashup Pack, and then we've got 16 packs coming up, which I find really interesting that this licensed content's allowed to be available for something like a game like this.
I just see it as one of those games where, like, not talking about Minecraft in general, I just mean the fact that it's on Wii U, is that, a few years we'll look back and go, oh yeah, that came out on Wii U.
Yeah.
But it's out on everything, so...
Now it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Netflix. It's like, it's good to have it. It's like, it's so ubiquitous. It's like, you want to play Minecraft on this? You want to play Minecraft on this? We could be very well in 10 years. Do you want to play Minecraft Fridge Edition? You want to play Minecraft on your fridge while you get a
yeah.
glass
We're
of
ever
water?
talking about this in 5 years' time. I want to get that soundbite of Chris saying, "Oh yeah, that was on Wii U."
Exactly. Anyway,
Well,
we should talk about
you'll
some
say
NX
that about
stuff,
the Wii U in general.
because
Yes.
you got a plane to catch, don't you, Adam?
Yes, we do. So let's
Well,
kinda,
you do.
I have a
I
plan to
don't.
catch. Let's talk. Yes.
So look, Minecraft, none of us are really going to get it,
No.
but it's exciting nevertheless.
Yes.
I hope it sells well for them. I hope they make some money out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything that helps Nintendo get successful. So let's close out. It wouldn't be a Red Coin Nintendo podcast without some NX news. And this has been...
NX hype. And I think
Ain't
anything...
even news though. It's just
I think any NX stuff we talk about this stage is hype.
It's hype until it gets announced at E3 next year, which I think we all know is definitely happening at this point.
along
so-
with the Nintendo
so the NX
self-driving car that they're
Yeah.
No, I don't
Self-driving
know.
car?
I don't know.
What kind of
That's what
prediction
NX
is that?
That's what NX is gonna be.
Oh, goodness. I can imagine Nintendo messing that up. But Nintendo, the NX hype train is in full swing, and so IGN have reported and said that they're reportedly targeting 20 million NX units shipped for 2016. So they said this is a Taiwan-based... so we're reading it off IGN, but Taiwan-based news outlet DigiTimes is reporting this. By the end of 2016, they want to ship 20 million NX units. Component suppliers for the new device will only be able to meet the demand for between 10 and 12 million units, the report states. So they want 20, but they're only getting 10 to 12.
So let's put this in perspective, right? So
Yes.
shipped, not sold.
Yes.
The distinction between that, right? So
Yes.
it's shipped to stores or whatever.
Yes.
Not in the hands of consumers.
Yes. Still, 20 million is a lot of units.
It's a shitload, Adam.
Yes.
And it's double the amount that the Wii U has sold
Yes.
in
And
this
considering how
entire
well the
time.
Wii U was, yeah.
Yes.
So,
So I mean, again,
is this realistic?
but I'm going to counter it and say,
Again, it's hype.
yeah.
I'm putting it down to hype.
but it's hype, but it's also true because I think what's going to happen is we don't know what this console is.
We have no idea.
This, I think, is a hybrid replacement. We've talked about this. There's enough of a buzz in the industry that it's a hybrid replacement for something like the 3DS. The 3DS has sold more than 20 million units.
50 million, actually.
It sold 50 million units. So, I think...
Which is great, but... Yeah.
Can you imagine that they are... The reason why they are putting so much into wanting to ship 20 million NX units by 2016 is because they think holiday 2016... They announced this at E3 in June to uproarious applause. They say all these launch games are coming out. They have 3 core launch games to get people
So it's
excited
Mario,
over.
it's Metroid, it's Pikmin or Zelda or whatever.
It could be. It could. I don't think it's Zelda. I think that Zelda is 100% going to be on Wii U. But I think it's Mario. It's Pikmin.
It's actually weird to think this time next year we'll know what it is and we'll be playing the games later.
That is weird to think. Because we don't know just yet, but we know that in at least 6 months we'll be hearing about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
This time next
I'm
year,
getting
we'll
super thirsty.
actively be talking about what we think of the Wii, whatever the console's
The
called.
NX,
Yeah.
The NX.
I mean, to read the rest of the tidbits from this article as well, because I just want to get some of your reactions to this, guys. So, that they believe they're going to be unable to reach the company's reported $20 million unit order. Foxconn will be reportedly be putting together the final product. We know Foxconn is a Chinese company that is notorious for making the iPhone and a lot of other products worldwide, and they've had issues in the past with treatment of employees and that kind of thing.
Labor laws and stuff.
Labor laws and stuff like that. And we've known that dev kits have been out for a while earlier this year, and that the device has industry-leading chips to put it on par with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But we've also had an interesting comment from the new Nintendo CEO, Kimishima, and he's predicted that the NX and Nintendo's new partnership with DENA will lead to Nintendo's biggest profits ever. And if the 20 million, turns out to be true, I think they must have a lot of faith in this new hardware.
Yeah, I agree. It's really exciting, and it's good to see our president talking with such conviction as well.
Yeah. Considering the tumultuous time that we've had the last few years with Wii U.
I feel he needs to.
Yeah.
I mean,
they need leadership.
It's
he needs to inspire shareholder confidence, number one.
It'll be his first big action as president of Nintendo. He needs to be memorable.
Yes, of course. But I think also we're at this point now where they can't be saying this and not have the games. They just can't,
Yeah, I
like
agree.
they have to have something. They have to have something big. And maybe it's Pokemon, you know? Maybe it's Pokemon on NX because Pokemon hasn't come out this year.
The infamous Pokemon.
Game Freak's working
RPG.
towards something. They're whetting our appetites with this virtual console
Who
thing in the
knows?
first half
It's
of
all
the year.
hype.
I don't think it's
I'm-
MMO Pokemon, but I think it could be a big
I'm-
Pokemon console game, you know?
Yeah, sure.
As a launch title. That would get a lot of people wrapped into the...
I'm refusing
Hype.
to buy into the NX hype until I see some hardcore facts, guys.
Yeah.
But do we think...
Exactly. We don't know.
Having a look at this article, do we think now it's more likely that... So my prediction of March 2017, do we think we should revise that and say it will be out by holiday 2016?
I think it's worth thinking about. So what we can do,
I
right?
think- I think
it's
this-
not out this year, so we can tick
Yeah, we
2015.
certainly definitely know
obviously.
that, yes.
It's not out 2018,
Yeah.
right? So we can,
It's one of
It's
2 years. It's either
2016
out
or
this year or
2017.
next year, so...
and it's not coming out
Next year or the year
2016,
after.
yeah,
So
2016 or
we've got like
2017.
a year window, I think, from
Mhm.
from June to June,
Mm-hmm.
June 2016 to June 2017, which I think will come out, and it's pretty obvious it will come out between that time.
I
Yes.
think we'll have one more episode before the end of the year, guys. And I think for that, we'll really talk about our predictions for 2016
Yeah,
and
definitely.
what we expect to come out next year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just, well, you know, the thing about Nintendo, we've known this in the past, is we can be completely wrong and we can be completely on
Yeah.
the money. You know, we guessed that there would be a Zelda remake, but then we also thought that there would be DLC announcements, which we have no idea about.
yeah.
And we've still got more news to come. We've got a Smash Direct coming in a few
We do,
weeks
yeah.
in December, so that'll be exciting to talk about too.
Something else in the article, actually, I'm not sure if it was in that article or a separate time interview,
Mhm.
but Kimishima was actually talking about the fact that they need to drop the Wii branding
Mhm.
for the next console.
That is really
which is
interesting.
very interesting, and I'm very glad to hear it because what are your thoughts on that, guys? Because
I was worried they could just have gone. Well, okay, they never go with the code names normally. But
No.
can you imagine that? You know, we're at E3 2016 and we're
the
here.
Wii 3,
The Wii NX or the Wii
Yeah.
3, you
Yeah.
know, and then we just
That would be horrible.
we just have up.
I would hate to say
they'd be
like
crickets.
it's the Wii with 3 eyes
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like
They
that.
just need something. Here's what I've always said: they just need something that evokes their history. That is a strong, powerful name that they can just smack a number onto every time they want to iterate it.
Yeah.
The NES, whatever number we're up to, what
It's not going to be the NES 7.
just
Adam.
call it the NES 7.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Just do it.
That's
it's-
possibly a worse name than Wii U.
I don't believe it is. Because it's a Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah.
NES 7. Xbox One. It can't be worse than Xbox One.
That's true.
PlayStation have got it right. They're set for the next
They're
10 years,
set for
right?
their entire
They're gonna
history,
be
yeah.
that.
They know they'll just add
They
a
did it-
1
they
to
did
it
it-
every
they did
time
it
and they'll
well.
be good to go.
But yeah, so like dropping the
What
Wii
would you
branding.
call it? What could you conceivably call it? Like the Nintendo Dual Console or something, you know? Like DC or something.
Nintendo Fusion, the Nintendo Next, the Nintendo Nexus. anything
I always
like that.
thought the Revolution was
The
a better
Nintendo
name than
Cafe.
the Wii.
The Dolphin.
The Nintendo
The-
Dolphin. There was a lot
The
of that,
Nitro.
that was a well.
I love the Dolphin.
The
There's
Nintendo
some
was
good-
a well-liked
There's
name.
some good code names. There's
Now
yeah,
it's
with
a
the
Wii-
Nitro
now
for
it's-
DS.
Now it's a GameCube emulator, Dolphin.
Yeah.
Mm.
But look,
But Aaron, the Wii name, so
yeah. What would be your Wii name? What would you call it? What would you call the NX? Give it a
What would I
name.
call it? Yeah, I agree with Chris. Probably something like the Fusion or.
such a cool name.
This is why we're not in marketing, everyone.
Yeah.
I think. Look,
But do you
I
think do you think they'll be dropping the Wii branding?
Yes, they need.
Dropping
100%.
Wiimotes, dropping motion, dropping. What do you guys like?
Maybe not so much motion. I feel like whatever it's going to be is handheld slash something.
well,
to
it's
do
not
with it.
motion. It's waggle now, really, and
Yeah.
those elements are always going to exist. They need
Traditionally-
Mario Party games.
But traditionally, Nintendo don't go to consoles with the backwards compatibility.
That is true.
So I think we're going to be seeing get rid of the Wiimotes, just get rid of them, bin them all,
Bin 'em all.
and keep gyro aiming and that sort of thing. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. But get rid of waggle. I don't want to see it. I don't ever want to fucking touch another Wiimote ever again.
I feel like
Wow.
we're.
Batteries.
It's a shame because the gamepad.
Batteries.
The
You
gamepad.
still have that problem on other consoles.
The gamepad had so much potential. Like when it first came out, it was like, here's what this is the gamepad. Here's what we can do with it. And we keep coming back to. I know we've spoken about it on the podcast before. The
Yes.
potential of things like Pokemon Snap
Yes.
and what that gamepad could have done. And I just don't think that gamepad ever really got a good go.
Are we gonna see?
No.
Are we gonna see? Because if the NX comes out next year, it's gonna be kind of like a Wii U Mark II. It's gonna be like a second shot at it. Are we gonna see a gamepad that actually lives up to the hype with games that are evocative of that gamepad, or are we going to see them bin the gamepad entirely? Like, I don't know. I think we could very well see a gamepad that's a portable console. Like, that's my guess. A gamepad that
It just
operates
can't
as a
be
portable
so
console.
fucking big, Adam. It's so big.
That's true. It is so big.
It's gargantuan. It's disgusting.
And
Anyway,
if it's too small, what's going to happen then? So
The
Before
screen's-
we hop on it too much, guys, if you have any ideas or suggestions or want comments on what we've
Yeah.
been saying, just let us know about
yeah,
them.
if anyone out there thinks NES 7 is not a horrible name,
It's horrible.
please, it's not. I think if they never abandoned their NES naming system, you would have just accepted it. I think if
I
we went
probably
from if we went from the Super NES to the Ultra NES, and then after that they were just like NES 4, 5, 6, 7, you would not be complaining.
I wouldn't complain. No,
Yeah, exactly. I think NES 7 is perfectly fine. It speaks to Nintendo's history, and it's that psychological thing again of 7 being more than 4 and 1.
But then you got the situation of going, where was 2 through 6?
2 through 6 was all their other consoles, though.
I would like to see something like PlayStation's next console called the PlayStation V for Roman numeral 5.
Right.
Right. Okay, interesting. That has... It kind of sounds like Vita. What if Nintendo called the NX the Nintendo PS5?
Oh, God. Guys, we already know... We've already talked about how Nintendo and Sony had that console that they were developing at some point, and that's been debugged and looked at. Look, I think let's leave it there. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please rate us
Thanks
on
for listening.
iTunes. We would love to see some 5-star reviews or any star reviews. We might
Keep an ear and eye out for our next one. So I have a feeling our next one's going to be pretty big, being our last one of the year.
Yeah.
Last one of the year. We got AGDQ coming up. We got
Yes,
a
Autumn
bunch of
Games Done Quick for those people who need to know what that is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah,
Games Done
not
Quick.
awesome.
Chris
I thought
is
Autumn
a
was coming
big
up.
fan of this stuff. So
yeah, I'll be
we're
watching
going
it.
to-
Yes.
I'll be watching it.
And also we've got again we still want Aaron and Cam to play our Super Mario Maker level, so
Of
that
course.
That
will
hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet.
be
Yeah,
coming
you're
up.
If
And
you're playing any Zelda games, hit me up.
yes, and
Facebook.
also Smash Direct. So I'm thinking
Oh yeah.
we don't. Again, I talked about that earlier, but we don't have a date for that.
No.
But my hope is the next time we record in 2 weeks,
This will be the ballot.
we would
Wait,
definitely
what's
have
the
the
date?
result.
What's the date now?
It's the 8th of December.
Oh, it's
It's
got to be. It's
December.
got to be in at least a week.
The
or
next
so.
couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
This will be the results of the ballot, definitely.
Yeah,
well,
we'll be seeing
I
clouds
think
and
will be an
stuff.
announcement. So,
Yeah.
and we'll be seeing Cloud hopefully being released on the day of the direct.
That'd
I
be
think
cool
that'll be
too,
definitely
yeah.
happening. But until that time, I'm Adam.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Aaron, and this has been Redcoin.
Yeah, and in the meantime, play some Nintendo games, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.